High school sweethearts finally wed after spending 63 years apart. In 1955, Bob and Annette met each other in high school. When he saw her entering the classroom for the first time, he thought there was no other woman more beautiful than her. They both laid eyes on each other as if they were meant to be. Although they were both young and naive, their love was strong and pure, but it took more than 60 years to join in holy matrimony. The story of Bob and Annette is the proof that love prevails throughout the years and above all circumstances. Annette was a student originally from Kentucky and had just moved to Virginia. She grew up in a small town. She was really shy and had never gone to any kind of prom. When she first entered the classroom, Bob spotted her and just couldn't take his eyes off her. He thought she was the most beautiful red hair he'd ever seen. It was an instant crush. Even though they hadn't spoken yet, Annette also noticed the good-looking guy Bob was. He was a handsome soccer player who always got the girls' eyes. During classes, Annette always noticed that Bob used to pass notes to another girl named Shirley. Annette thought that Bob and Shirley had a crush on each other and she was odd about it. But to her surprise, it wasn't what she thought. She decided to ask Shirley and it turned out that Bob was just constantly asking her questions about Annette. The first time Bob and Annette talked to each other was at the high school prom. Annette went to dance with a city newspaper delivery guy. It was her first dance and all she could think of was Bob. Though her partner wasn't as handsome as Bob in her mind, she could probably learn how to dance, therefore she'd feel more confident if Bob asked her to dance. Bob also noticed Annette that night. He was picking the tickets as she was entering the room, and although he knew she had company, the idea of dancing with that girl absorbed him. And so it happened, Bob asked Annette for a dance. She was shaking like a leaf because she didn't want to embarrass herself in front of her new crush, but even nervous and full of doubt, she said yes. They knew they were in love because it felt like love. They danced all night long and fell in love with each other. That night was the beginning of a beautiful love, but little did they know their love was going to an end. After a long and lovely relationship, summer arrived and with it a bitter end to their love. Turned out that Annette was leaving during summer to spend it with her family in Kentucky and Miami. They both knew they couldn't make it work being that far away, but with their little strengths, they kept the hope of a sooner reunion. And so it happened. Bob was blindly in love with her and did what any young man in love would have done in those years, selling his beloved shotgun. All this with the purpose of obtaining some money to call Annette every week. It worked for a couple of weeks, but Bob eventually ran out of money and couldn't talk to his girlfriend for the rest of the summer. Devastated, Bob had no other choice but to wait. School started and Annette came back from seeing family in Kentucky and Miami. Bob was desperate for seeing his beloved Annette again, but in the end it wasn't what he expected. He approached her, but he realized she wasn't as happy as him. Turned out Annette was already dating John Callahan, a guy she met during summer. This decision tumbled down any expectations Bob had, but he decided to respect and accept her decision. Their love ended in high school, and after that they never saw each other again. Years passed, Bob and Annette followed their own way. On her side, Annette married her boyfriend John and had 4 kids. On his side, Bob married a girl from his classroom named Diane and had 2 kids. They lived a long and happy life, but deep inside they always kept each other in mind. Bob even carried in his wallet a picture of Annette, remembering the love that could be. But destiny took the wheel again and they never imagined their paths would meet again. Annette's husband was diagnosed with vascular dementia and died in 2015. On the other side, Bob's wife Diane was diagnosed years later and died. Both widows, it was just a question of time before meeting again. A friend of Annette's decided to go visit her, and to her surprise, he went to show her old pictures from 1956. In these pictures, Bob held Annette tightly in his arms. This embraced Annette, and somehow she felt this need of finding Bob. But she never imagined the amazing fact that Bob was also looking to find her. Turned out Bob didn't want to spend his last days alone after he was diagnosed with marrow cancer. Only a condolence letter from Bob and a call from Annette were necessary for them to meet again, and as a result, they planned to meet up. So in 2019, Bob got up at 5 a.m. to drive 12 hours and 500 miles from Virginia to Annette's house in Ohio. When he arrived, the first thing he did was kiss her again after 63 years. They spent together a week and danced again like the old times, and that's when Bob decided he wanted his sweetheart to be his life companion. After asking their children love and blessings, Bob proposed to Annette and organized a beautiful wedding, 1950s themed. Their story's undoubtedly inspirational and is the proof that true love exists. Currently, they plan to live together at Annette's house. Bob is forced to spend most of his time in Virginia due to his cancer treatment, but never misses a chance to spend 10 days a month with his first love, Annette.